for usurpering.
Beautiful. Now,
And
just before we just before we begin, I'm showing my current barrel count so that I don't have to make a new account or anything. I can just keep on adding barrels to this one. So we have 467, and so later on we're just going to add 148 to that and then show the badge count at the end. So that's kind of like a new thing. Instead of like starting a new game if we don't want to, we can just like new game plus in a way, so I can keep my fancy red outfit. That's literally the only reason. Because red is the best. Red's the fastest one. Anyway, so I'm gonna start. Yeah, so I'm gonna start
the
the.
outfits are the only reason for New Game Plus. They're the best thing about it.
Right, so I'm gonna be starting the timer in. Can we get a countdown from 3? Yeah, countdown from 3. So 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm gonna start the game, skip a cutscene. We're gonna be skipping as many cutscenes as possible during the game, but not every single one is, skippable, so that's unfortunate. This game is very like storytelling driven, so there's gonna be a lot of like lovely long sections. So what I'm gonna do here, this is Trico, he's our buddy, and he's currently injured at the moment, so we have to kind of restore him back to health. So we've got some spears in him, and he's also going to be very hungry. The good thing he is hungry, because we're actually going to be feeding him all the barrels, which is kind of like another way of saying all collectibles, but there's only one collectible. It's been quite a while since I've ran this category as well, like November, I think? So it's going to be a fun run.
Also, since the category is all barrels, some of them are required, so some of them we don't even have to worry about because we will be feeding Trico those barrels, like, because we're required to.
Yeah, throughout the normal any percent run of this game, some barrels are required as, kind of like a roadblock, and if I don't feed them to him, I can't progress. But most of the barrels are in fact just optional. And it's part of a trophy for this game, so they probably were like looking for things to put in. Actually, we didn't get that. Let's go around. So these are 3, I guess, mandatory barrels. We have to feed them to him in order to kind of, make him feel better. They have like regen, restorative powers or something. I don't know, they're just special in a way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tactically feed Trigo these 3 barrels. So in order for Trico to eat a barrel here, you have to put it just close enough to his face, and you also have to be looking at him, but you can't be close to him. Just going to throw it into here, and I'm going to keep my camera on Trico the entire time.
Trico is a weirdo in that he doesn't like you too close, but he also needs you to be looking at him.
Yeah, it's like, are you watching? Like, are you watching? Are you looking? Yep. Okay. Time to chow down. So putting barrel number 2, and it's being thrown on your face. So I can turn the camera here for a few seconds, and as long as I have the camera back onto Trico, or roughly back on the Trico. So if I have my camera like turned away from Trico for too long, he'll actually start growling at the barrel, which actually wastes like a few second animation rather than Trico eating the barrel. So I have to wait a bit to throw it, otherwise he'll drop the barrel in midair. So feeding the 3rd one now. So we're kind of gaining his trust here by feeding him the barrels and nursing him back to health. So I'm gonna wait. 1, 2. If I interrupt him like mid-chomp during his like barrel consumption, he'll actually just like drop the barrel, stop eating, and then start growling, so we don't want that. So I'm actually gonna free him right here. So I'm gonna undo his collar, now I'm gonna take out the last spear. And that is the first segment, out of many.
So Frosty Flowers in the chat went, so he's a cat, and that is kind of true. He's part cat, part dog, part bird, obviously because of the feathers and the feet.
He can be anything you want him to be. A weasel, an anything.
A ferret.
A ferret, a long boy. A long cat. Or a griffin. A lot of people seem to think he's like a griffin or something. There we go. So we're actually going to be trying to do one of the hardest skips in the game here. It actually saves around 35 seconds if you get it right. So it's called like early mirror. So usually you have to wait for Trico to come and like run to us so that we can climb on him and reach a ledge that you couldn't be able to access normally. However, there is a very conveniently placed block. There's a special kind of jump you can do on the last few frames of a piece of architecture, let's say, that give you a boost, and the boost just so happens to be big enough in this section that we can use it for a skip. But it is a very, very difficult skip to do. So I was doing some Shadow of the Colossus practice yesterday, and on one of the bosses, Pelagia, in order to jump to her face, you have like a 1/10 of a second window on the jump, and this feels a lot harder than that. So I'm going to stand here and try and press triangle and jump so I can get a boost. That felt good, but not quite. It's not frame perfect, but it's close enough. So Trico's coming into the room now, so didn't get that juicy time save.
The goal with this skip is to basically get the boys' magnet hands to actually attach to the ledge up there that you can actually grip.
Yeah, so if you haven't noticed by the constant prompts in the screen, which don't worry, we'll be seeing a lot of prompts in the screen. We'll actually just give him... Hold on, I'm just moving his barrel out of the way. I'm gonna go in the tunnel and feed the barrels out afterwards. I was on about something like mirror ledge. Yeah, so the early mirror, and just basically the controls in this game, there is no grab button. You literally, like, if the boy is near a ledge that can be grabbed, he will like auto grab it. It's the same with like if you jump near Trico, for example, you just auto grab onto things, which can happen in a good way or a bad way. For some skips you want to grab onto things, for other skips you really don't want to be grabbing onto anything. So I'm gonna grab this mysterious mirror here. It's totally fine, nothing suspicious about it.
Oh look, it's a laser toy for your quote-unquote cat.
Yeah! It's the laser pointer in its own. So there's going to be 3 barrels just in this little bit alone. So there's 2 that are in front of us, but some just happen to be hidden that I really shouldn't forget about. I'm actually going to get a nifty little cutscene here of Trico's disco eyes.
RGB eyes.
RGB. He has RGB installed. So he's being recalibrated, it's fine. It's a totally natural process.
Always be sure to pair your Bluetooth mirror with your animal.
Pairing. So I'm gonna throw his barrel down to him. So I'm trying to get Trico to jump over here, so I can jump on a ledge. Getting him to eat these barrels is gonna be quite awkward, especially when climbing on him. Obviously the magnet hands I was on about, I cannot control really which part of Trico I grab. So climbing on him in general is something very, very awkward. There's a barrel hidden in here. There are going to be some portions of the run where we just don't have any barrels for like 10-15 minutes. It's a good catch. So in some segments I'm just going to be doing like a normal 80%, if that makes sense, where I'm just not collecting any barrels and using the same strats as 80%. In comparison, instead of like feeding him the barrels there, you do what we call like a checkpoint reset or a CPR. Basically, when the game saves, it just checkpoints you at random bits. Either when you walk on them, when Trico walks on them, when an action is performed. And we can actually use those checkpoint resets to forward ourselves in the game, or to de-aggro Trico when he's agitated by enemies. And we're going to be doing quite a few in this long run. And I'm going to be doing one coming up as well. So you actually saw me do one in one of the tunnel with the white smoke. So I didn't actually have to like climb or like crawl through the tunnel. I could have just checkpoint resetted, and that for some reason brings me further in the game. So we dig it, we dig it. I'm also going to be using a checkpoint reset at the edge of this lake so that I can bring Trico closer to me. That is not it. Sorry, I have my item menu open. Wasn't ready for that. There we go. I'm gonna jump down here. Perfect landing. So we use Trico's lightning to blast down this door, or piece of wood, whatever you want it to be. If you could just aim a bit better. Come on, Trico. Any moment now. That wasn't very good lightning. So if you hear mashing in the background, in order to climb up these chains properly, you have to quickly mash and flick the analog stick, like upwards. Otherwise you climb really slow, and if you don't keep flicking it, it makes horrible noise, but it's faster than normal, I promise. And as well, we're going to be feeding him all 4 barrels in this area. There's 3 here. And we just have to make sure he eats them as quickly as possible, which is one of the more difficult things in the run. You can have a barrel fall down into the void, or Trico will just not be able to eat them. Thanks, buddy. Third one. So Trico's RNG here is pretty annoying. His AI is very complex, let's say. And you see, he can't even choose which barrel he wants to eat. He's given up and gone to the other one.
He's definitely part cat. Didn't want to jump in the water until he had a treat incentive.
Mm-hmm. Alright, he's seen those 2. He should be okay with them. I have to wait until Trico's eaten those 2 before I can get the other one. But how long he takes to eat them is just such a variable. You can do it, buddy. You can do it. It's not that hard. That's 2 down. Yeah, this category gets ran a lot less than any percent for kind of this reason. Like, making a long run even longer by giving him, like, all these collectibles, a lot of people just, like, it makes the run so much more, like, difficult than it needs to be. Because a lot of this speedrun is just pure RNG, like, turned up to the max. Because in order to go fast on this game, you need to rely on our AI over here, Trico, to go and do whatever you want him to go and do. So we're going to be doing constant, like, AI manips, or attempting to, in order to, like, maximize the run. And save time. There's a barrel hidden way up here, so I need to get Trico in the right position and get this jump. In any percent, we just skip all the way past this. We just go over the ledge instead, which I will do when I feed in this last barrel. There we go. So Trico's actually left the building, apparently. He's jumped up the ledge, so I need to try and pull him back down for his barrel. If you jump from too far of a height as well, you end up getting like a broken leg. Buddy, come on. I have a barrel right here for you.
Just walk off that broken leg.
Yeah, the boy is in fact made of like a special jelly. So we can recover from our injuries quite well. And try and throw it to him, but he's not in the greatest position. Yeah, he's not gonna catch that. The quickest way to get Trico to eat a barrel is for him to catch it. But that's fine too. So now he's eaten all 4 of them. We can start to move on. Come on, buddy. So eventually we will get like commands for the creature. We could do them at the moment, but they just won't work. So we have to kind of just really coax Trico into corners and hope he does the right thing. Like for example, I would like it if he would jump off, but I guess I can just reach this ledge instead. Right, so we're finally making our way out of this cave. I'm gonna find out a little bit of, I guess, background as to where we are. Because this boy has been kidnapped. This boy he's not in his village. There's a lot of, like, theory crafting and lore and, like,
I mean,
all
that's
that
kind of
jazz.
spoilers for anyone who hasn't played the game.
Yeah, the boy's like, well, goodbye, big cat. I'm gonna go home.
Boy, you're crazy. Who wouldn't want a giant bird cat dog as a pet?
Exactly. I really love how the boy will just talk to Trico like anyone would talk to their pet dog. Just in full coherent sentences. Stop following me. Go home. See? Well, alas, we are very far from our own home. We're in Trico's home. Golly gosh. So that's kind of like our end goal, that tower up there. That's kind of like the high point that we need to go. And the entire game we're just basically getting closer and closer to the end point. But there's gonna be a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, trust me. Who wants a giant bird dog cat as a pet? Anyone who'd have to clean out their litter box. It's funny you say that
Just have them
because
do it outside.
it's funny you say that because Trico can actually poop in this game. He can actually just poop at any given point. We don't know what makes him poop, but he does.
We've had extensive research into pooping.
Yes. And his poops are like blobs of green jelly, like apple flavored jelly. I know if he like poops during this run, I will go and I will go and pick it up and show the class, show and tell. Trico is a lot more likely to poop on the fresh file without the trophy, and because this file already has a poop witnessed, I'm a lot less likely to get it. So if I do get it, it makes the run a whole lot more special. Blessed poop run. Just gonna slowly shimmy our way over here. And blast down this door. Wherever Trico may be. I don't know where they got the idea to make Trico use, like, magical lightning as a weapon. I find that a strange design choice. So now that this pillar is broken...
I mean, we both know the reason it's lightning and not something else.
Oh, goodness, no. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running down in here as quickly as I possibly can because I don't want Trico to follow me into this room. I want Trico to be standing perfectly on that pillar that just dropped so that I don't have to wait out animation cycles for when he jumps. Because a lot of like passive time loss in this run is just waiting for Trico to take that extra step to make the extra move. So hopefully by running around like that, Trico's in a decent place. I've definitely seen worse. And better. Yeah, he was running for me. He was coming straight in. So now I have to wait for him to kind of like turn around and get his ass ready to jump up. It's actually really funny. Like the boy has certain like lines of dialogue that you only hear if you're petting Trico on the face.
Yeah. Like the very first one, like the pleased to meet you one, and then also like he'll do other ones that aren't subtitled.
Yeah.
Oh, they can hear things. You're good to go.
The So we're still feeding Trico all the barrels that we have. This is yet another one. There's a lot of barrels early in the game, and then quite a few less late on in the game. Good. Oh, come on, man. You got one shot. There we go. Perfect catch. Yeah, so throwing barrels in midair is the quickest way to get Trico to eat a barrel. Because of course he's an AI in a video game, if a barrel is too close to a wall, or too close to something, or it's not on like even ground, sometimes Trico can't get to it. So instead what by himself with his foot. Basically, like, if he's too close to the wall, I guess the devs didn't want Trico to, like, clip through or anything mid-eating animation.
And like whenever Trico does that, a lot of players will assume that like Trico doesn't want it or doesn't feel like it, or that he's just playing with his food and essentially doesn't want it. And there's never a case where Trico doesn't want a barrel. It's just the video game design choice of having Trico do that, which is just kind of the AI will try and move the barrel so that it can better eat it.
Yeah, it's also, like, semi-realistic, you know, the animal's actually, you know, trying to, like, get its food. I guess Trico's probably one of the best AI I've seen in a video game. They've actually really nailed, like, everything Trico's supposed to be. It's a big bird dog.
Also, all the animations, they're so good.
And the attention to detail, all the noises and everything. So if you pay attention to the animations very closely and the sound he's making, you can actually understand Trico's own little language, let's say. So in order to do a lot of like AI manipulations in the game or get the best out of Trico's AI, we have to pay close attention to what he's saying and what he's doing with his body, because his body language will show us what's kind of going through his brain at that time. So it makes it easier to give commands, it makes it easier to kind of call him over, to get him to do fights optimally. Another barrel down here. And that glass eye I just knocked over, Trico doesn't like those things, they are very scary. So we have to just take care of that for him. And he's very angry at the moment. So he's very agitated. There's something in that room that he doesn't like. So what I'm going to do is take the barrel up here and try and entice him over a bit quicker. So he stops yelling. Yeah. Sometimes trying to get Trico to eat in a hallway is not the best idea. Like, narrow places are probably one of the worst places to get Trico to eat a barrel. And you can waste like so much time trying to get barrels. There's going to be one later on in the run, which it's Colosseum barrel, and we'll get to that. Oh come on, man! You have one job.
That one will be fun.
Yeah, if you like miss throwing a barrel, you have to pick it up again or move it, because that would have been too far in the corner for Trico to eat. You can also eat out your hand, that's good. So I'm gonna lure Trico kind of over here, so that I can jump on him. And there's one more barrel in this area, and then we can just advance like it's a normal any percent for a short enough time. The run's gonna get a little bit more interesting soon. We still haven't been introduced to our enemies, essentially, in the game, which we'll see very shortly. Come on, let me climb up. Do 1, 2, 3 shimmies. Jump back. And that's auto grab for you. So in order to let go, you need to hold X, but you can't really control where you go sometimes. So I'm using a checkpoint reset there to kind of bring me ahead. And skip the animation of the door opening.
Another thing about X is that a lot of players get frustrated because they don't realize they need to hold X in order to keep dropping. Sometimes they'll be on Trico, they'll press X and the boy will like let go, but then he'll grab again because they let go of X. And that just annoys them because they want to get off of Trico. But the thing is, you got to hold X in order to actually keep, like, not grab.
And so I'm in a very narrow hallway at the moment, so Trico cannot make his way through. I'm gonna try and move him, let's say, and not get his AI stuck in this corner, which it appears to be doing. He's not sure what to do. So in this game,
back that butt up.
yeah. Okay, we have something here. We have something. Right, can you eat it from my hand? Do we think? Is that good with you? Not convinced? No. So I'm gonna move him out here. Hopefully now he can be enticed to eat.
He definitely wants it. Whenever his eyes are white like that, that means he's interested in something. It's usually the barrel.
See if we'll catch it. There we go. So if his AI isn't too tight of a space, he's just not going to do what you want him to do. I have to coax him all the way back in here. Yeah, it's so nice to be able to like skip all of this. Trico, where are you going? At this point in the game as well, Trico is a little bit more adventurous and disobedient. But in around, I guess, 20 odd minutes, that's when the run gets a little bit more intense with all the commands and AI stuff.
So Dapple asks, do the barrels make his horns grow? I would say no, because you can go do an any percent and only give him the required barrels and his horns still grow the same amount.
Yeah, so his horns will grow progressively throughout the game. Just natural progression. It's not anything to do with barrels. It's the same with his tail. So when you feed Trico a barrel, his tail will glow like bluish white on the end. I don't exactly know why. I think it's almost like the barrels are like batteries, and you're just powering up Trico every time you feed him one. So we're going to lure Trico into this room. It's called an antenna room, and or you know, a 5G signal room, whatever you want it to be. And Trico's horns or antenna on his head, they react very badly to the signal that they're giving off. So I'm just going to stand here, do nothing, and Trico's going to do a big chomp. The game's getting a bit weird. So fun fact, the Japanese title of this game roughly translates to Trico, the giant man-eating eagle. That's the Japanese title, more or less. Obviously they had to change the title for a Western audience, which is why it has the name The Last Guardian.
The war jokes are always so bad when a new player plays the game.
Yeah. It's a bit of a strange moment, don't get me wrong. The game's rated 12, it's nothing suspicious going on. So we just skipped like a flashback cutscene, but this is like a cutscene that we can't skip. It's really strange. Like some cutscenes you can skip, others you can't. Like they're required watch. So Trico's kind of out cold. He's eaten the mirror, so he's not feeling too good right now. So what I'm going to do is stand on his angle, try and jump to his tail. There we go. Just make my way down. So I kind of have to progress without Trico for a little while. There's going to be other parts in the game where me and Trico have to like separate. So I'm going to be like just crawling through some sewers for a short while. There's no way to speed this up. I can't crawl any faster. I'm just crawling through a tunnel. A secret tunnel if you wish it to be. I mean, we're going to meet the enemies of the game, antagonists. And they are just suits of armor, but menacing ones.
Suddenly, it's a stealth horror game.
Yeah. It feels like a stealth horror game sometimes. I remember my first casual playthrough, like being caught by a suit of armor is terrifying. They just grab you and then the screen fills with symbols and then there's intense violin going on and it's like, it's not a vibe to be caught at all. So I think there's only one fight or two fights in the entire game that we can skip. Well, that's a lie actually. There are 3 fights in the game you can skip, and this happens to be one of them. However, it's a skip that's not RTA viable, and there's a few skips or things in the game which save a lot of time and look cool, but simply aren't RTA viable because of the nature of the controls and the way the game is just kind of built upon itself. Because every kind of jump I do, every action I perform, there's around a 0.3 input delay. So if I press triangle and jump, there's a 0.3 delay until the boy actually, jumps. So everything I do during this run is happening with a lovely control delay. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go in here. So we're going to activate the armor by just running into them. And I have to lure them past the trigger so that I wake Trico up. So fights in this game, everything's down to Trico. There's nothing you can really do to speed up a fight. I mean, you can like take off helmets, like heads, and like kill armor. But most of the time Trico's gonna be doing, Trico's gonna be doing all the work for us.
Mess them up, baby.
One. So Trico really doesn't like the armor's helmets for some reason. They're like his worst enemy. So if I pick one up and bring one into this room, I can actually avoid having to do a trigger here. So at this point of the game basically tells you, hey, you can pet Trico to calm him down, and usually you just have to sit here for like 20 minutes, like petting him to calm him down. But if you just carry on without him and activate a checkpoint in a little bit, we can actually skip doing that. So the game kind of wants us...
For gameplay, it's just not great for speedruns.
Yeah. Like, petting Trico to calm him down would be very cute and lovely, but it just simply takes way too long. We can also repeatedly call Trico to calm him down, but again, that's not worth doing if there's a checkpoint ahead that can de-agitate him for us. So I'm going to touch this beam of wood, and then restart the checkpoint, so it's going to bring me further up in time, and it's going to make Trico less angry. So I don't have to spend all that time calling him. So gotta be careful not to fall off this ledge because it hasn't got ledge detection. So you see Trico's butt down there? So I have to try and call him up. This is also a potential soft lock point as well. So Trico's gonna jump up here. He's gonna do a pre-scripted event, but sometimes a script in the event starts looping. So hopefully it's not gonna happen to us. It's called the endless screaming glitch. So at some point during the scripted animation, where he's gonna run around this kind of garden, at the end he kind of looks up to that tower and like, you know, starts screaming as he would, you know. Who doesn't scream at high-rise towers?
He angry.
But sometimes he angry. So sometimes he'll just keep looping that screaming animation for quite some time, and there's like nothing you can do about it really. You can try and reset the AI, but it's like difficult. So he's gonna scream very soon. There's another hard skip in the game, which I'll be trying. If I don't get it, it's no biggie. But, so in the next area, or to kind of past this wall, there's an aroma pot, in which Trico is very attracted to the scent. And, I need to, you know, obviously get rid of the pot. However, if I go just ever so slightly out of bounds on a specific jump onto a ledge I shouldn't be able to reach, I can actually get to the pot early without having to climb on it or anything. So I need to get a safe animation. No, I didn't get it. The boy flopped too much. That's unfortunate. So aroma pot skip roughly saves around 30-35 seconds. So it basically skips me having to pull this pot down and having to climb up Trico, because I would have landed on the ledge and been able to go across the roof.
Like catnip, but for Trico.
Yes.
It's like Trico nip.
Trico. Yeah, Trico really, really loves this stuff, and we'll probably find out later on at the end of the game why he loves it, or what it's made of, rather. Come on, boy. Sometimes, like, as you're climbing on something, the boy will just, like, wipe his nose and, like, do a quick nose wipe animation, which, like, slows you down. I don't know why. So now I can actually shut the lid and move on with my life. I keep pressing X thinking like, oh, you have to call aggro. But this is the wrong game. So again, I'm gonna be resetting here, bring Trico forward. Sometimes the resets can be quite unsafe, so if you've only just kind of hit the reset point, the game will pick for you whether you've actually hit the checkpoint or not. Like, some are like 100% guaranteed, other ones are like quite risky and can lose you time if you don't get them. But there's no way to kind of tell that you've triggered the checkpoint other than you just have to go for the reset.
Because they're like invisible triggers that we've assumed at this point.
Yeah. So we're going to continue on. There's no barrel around here either. There's a barrel, 2 barrels actually, quite shortly. And then we're going to have some more fights going on. Need to grab on the Trico, otherwise he's going to leave without me. So because we also don't have like a secure grab button, at any point during the game or at any point when we're on Trico, I can just randomly let go and fall off even if I'm not pressing the let go button. Even if we're like on him, petting him like this, you can still sometimes like be bounced off, especially when Trico's jumping or jumping like from tight narrow spaces, because the boy can just be caught on like a wall. This game finds a lot of ways to mess you up. And down here as well, we have another like pre-scripted event. And we're actually going to see Susan, best girl, Susan. So Susan is the fan name from us speedrunners of the game, for the female Trico that we see a few times throughout the game. And she's going to make her first appearance right about now. There we go.
And to be clear, we're only assuming she's female, but the interesting thing is that the Trico's gender has actually been debated in the within the fans, and the only thing the devs have confirmed is that the Trico that one up there that you see, they're the opposite gender to whatever one you think Trico is. So the only thing they've confirmed is that Trico is heterosexual.
Yeah. So yeah, you heard it. Our friend Trico isn't actually like gendered in the game. You can have Trico be whatever you want them to be. Personally, I think Trico's like a boy, just because him and Susan, they end up getting along in the end. So and Susan's just a fun like name to say. Susan couldn't be anyone else but Susan, So in here it's Barrel. So now that Trico's like kind of stood up on a pillar, I have to have him catch Sparrow. And if it falls into the void, then it's not a fun time. I feel like I'm too far away for that. We get a little bit closer. Alright, please catch this, buddy. There we go.
Parse the Potato says, I'm sure the barrels are filled with sunshine and happiness and not anything terrifying or horror-inducing.
No.
Well, I mean, knowing the other games by the same people, that's probably a safe assumption.
Yeah. Would you like your sunshine and rainbow barrel? Of course you would.
Look, it has butterflies on it.
Don't tell me you dropped it. You didn't drop it, did you? No. Okay, you actually ate it.
Yes, very nice catch. Such a good boy.
Yeah, sometimes, like, if I'm running the game, I'll end up talking to Trico like he's actually, like, a real thing. But it's a little bit confusing because I also have a pet cat who's, like, next to me. So sometimes I'll, like, start talking and then my cat's just giving me, like, dagger eyes being like, who's she on about? Is that for me? Again, I would like to checkpoint reset, thank you. Using a checkpoint reset to kind of advance the game state a little bit more. So I'm gonna jump down here. There's gonna be some enemies that are gonna appear once Trico jumps down. There's a barrel over there. Usually I just like jump up on Trico and skip this fight, but unfortunately I have to wait for him down here to get the fight over and done with. Usually in a fight there will be a suit of armor trying to grab you. So I'm just gonna jump onto Trico here to avoid that. We get a lovely dramatic camera from Trico's point of view, I guess. On his butt. So because the music's still going, I know one's still alive. So now he's not so angry, so we can feed him this barrel. Hopefully if he comes around. Come here, buddy. Are you gonna eat this one? Good job. Now he's eaten that, we can probably just climb up without him. He's still got a few spears in him. So, when Trico's got a spear in him, usually, like, the game wants you to remove it. But I really shouldn't go out of my way to remove a spear because it just takes up a lot of time. So instead what I'm going to do is, like, during segments where I'm, like, waiting, like, climbing on Trico or waiting for him to jump to places, I can remove the spears, because later on in the game, in order to progress forward, there is like a spear check, so all the spears in his body need to be removed at one point in the game. But it's not going to be till like a lot later on. So in the meantime, I can just chill. So So I'm gonna narrowly avoid these guards here. Usually you're supposed to get Trico to fight them, but if I time my run right and jump there, I can avoid getting caught by the suits of armor. And I essentially just skip that fight altogether. And Trico's still like way back. So I'm actually gonna activate a trigger to bring Trico forward.
He's a
Gonna
big
run-
slowpoke.
Yeah. Sometimes we just can't wait around for him. So I'm gonna be running past here, running into this room, gonna run to the back of this wall, and then I'm gonna reset. And that will bring Trico forward, and he would have activated the trap on this puzzle. Just gonna pull this down. And proceeds to try and not get caught by 5 suits of armor. Scary stuff. There we go, just narrowly missed it.
Very nice.
And now we have to like hope and pray that Trico does the fight well. So I'm gonna try and lure them over here. And I'm gonna keep calling them as well. Gonna lift this up, so that Trico's tail's free. Drop it back down when he stands up. And now we have to hope and pray that he kills all these guys in one. And he's not stuck. He's not stuck. Beautiful. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. Is this the last one? Is there no more, buddy? Oh, this thing has a really good fight, actually. So if there's no more down there, we can coax him into this hallway. Hopefully. He seems very laser focused on something he shouldn't be. Might have to go and get him. Come on, bud. You're okay. Come along. Usually he would just like run down this hallway by himself during the fight, but at other times his AI does get like distracted by things happening. I'm gonna run down this hallway. Hopefully. There we go. Kill this guy in one shot. Beautiful. Just gonna wait for the music to die down a bit. And then we're going to reset. So that's going to basically like de-agitate Trico and put him into a neutral state so that we can just move on. Now in any percent we would have a skip here called command skip. And basically we go into this room and we're trapped in this room and we can't get out. So the game kind of forces you to command Trico to jump and do stuff. But however, because there are barrels right here, we unfortunately don't do command skip. So we need to get Trico to actually break these barrels for us. And eat them, hopefully. There's 4 of them here as well. And he can be real slow. And because we're in such a tight space as well. Hopefully we can break that. Good boy.
Also, for anyone wondering, he got in because it's a one-way gate.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a fast break.
It's like a cat flap that only opens one way.
First-time players I always see so amazed at how in the world Trico got in.
Uh-huh.
And I always have to explain, like, that was a one-way door, and that's how we got in.
Usually if the camera, like, moves like that, that means it's gonna eat it out of midair. You're too close to me, buddy. Oh, wow. Yeah, just keep eating. You can do it again. He wants me to throw it. Sometimes you can tell if he wants you to throw it or if he wants you to, like, hold it so he can have it. So I'm trying to get him to do a jump. Because the game's giving me commands, that's what this dialogue is about. There we go. So if I give him a command and he looks up at the area in which I told him to do something, then usually he will do that thing that I wanted him to do. However, this being a very strange area, there's a lot of distractions for him. Want to jump to this pillar right here? Hopefully he can understand. He has to readjust himself. Take your time, buddy. Take your time. There we go. And at 80% we just skip doing that entire thing and we just jump to this ledge very early. So now we can actually get out this room. I do have 2 more barrels in this area as well. So I'm going to open this up. And when this gate has fully opened, I'm able to checkpoint reset again. Don't have to wait for him to jump down or anything. And then I have to get him to hopefully obey us for the rest of the run. So I need to get him to jump up here. So I'm going to point in that direction. And if he looks towards there, like he's doing now. There we go. Good catch. He will hopefully jump up. There we go.
That was a very close jump.
Yeah, I genuinely thought I wouldn't grab onto anything. So we're gonna try and make him catch his barrel. Good job, buddy. You can get down now. There we go. So I got 1 more barrel kind of tucked away down here. So I have to go all the way kind of down these steps and around here. Some of the barrels are in very obvious places, other ones you actually have to look for. Just gonna get this real quick, and then we can move on as well. I have quite a sore throat, so I apologize if I sound really rough. And yeah, your walking speed of barrel is also not great. So sometimes, if you have to go out of your way, it does take a long time to transport the goods.
I mean, the boy only has 2 movement speeds normally, just sneak and noom. So if you want to walk, you have to go grab a barrel, and then the boy does basically a walking speed.
Yeah. So now Trico's using that. We can hopefully get him to jump across there. So I should only need to give him 1 command, and he'll start moving along. Trico will also give you verbal feedback if you give him a command.
Although it's a little hard to tell because he'll make that sort of kind of like that roar that sounds kind of like no, I don't want to do this, or no, I didn't understand. But he will do that both before doing exactly what you asked and also not doing what you asked.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know if that's really a no answer or yes, I will go do that thing.
Yeah. Usually you can tell with his animation, so he's kind of focusing on where he needs to go and slowly moving towards it. I know I don't have to issue another command. Sometimes if you issued too many commands, you actually end up overloading his AI. So if you have a command, it kind of goes in a bit of a command queue almost. If you give too many commands, even if it's the same one, it's not always guaranteed that he will listen to you and perform that command. Oh dear. What did you do with it? Where did it go?
Well, no, what happened? I'm having to watch the stream, so I don't know.
I don't know where the barrel went. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank goodness.
It went on his head.
I thought he was gonna do the thing that dogs do and then flip the barrel and catch it, but no.
I mean, it
He
kind of
just-
looked like he did that.
Yeah,
Well,
I
mean, he
was
didn't,
so
'cause there it
worried.
is.
I was so worried that it like slipped into the void. Because this barrel's in like an awkward spot, Trico's having to move it in order for his head to kind of fit in the space around it to chomp down. There we go. So we like have to, in that situation, we have to wait for him to actually eat the barrel so that we can progress. Because I don't want to have to like progress and it turns out that Trico's moved the barrel into a spot that he can't get to. Because then we'd have to like manually kind of move the barrel, which is not fun. So we're coming up to some enemy rooms right now. So these enemies, they're like kind of in sleep mode if you want to think about it. They're just here. If you go into their flashlight, you activate them, but if you just narrowly run past them, I can open this chain without having to wait for them to like turn around in like a perfect time. So hopefully by the time I get spotted, the door will be open just wide enough for Trico to poke through. There we go. Usually you have to like activate them and then you use the tunnels underneath the bridge to try and trick them to the other end of the room. But luckily here, you can just use Trico as a weapon. Okay. Once the music to calm down a bit, I can reset the checkpoint. What I'm going to do here is going to tell him to jump. And that single command should hopefully make him look to the other side of the room and jump to it. He's on his way. And we've got another room like this as well. But instead we have 6 guards to worry about. And we have to try and not do them in the intended way. A lot of things about this run. It doesn't have the flashiest skips or anything. Like, the biggest skip isn't, like, very, you know, fancy. Even though it saves, like, 5 or 6 minutes. There are no real, like, major glitches, anything that really break the game. If anything, the game breaks you. Because,
Yep.
yeah, the dev, made a few invisible walls and, whatnot to prevent you from doing anything. Even if you do somehow manage to get out of bounds and like fly to the end of the game, there's like no collision or triggers or anything. So you're just kind of levitating in dead space. So you get him out here, gonna fall straight down. And I'm gonna reset the checkpoint so that I land, or start rather, with a non-broken leg. And it's also gonna reset the armor cycles. So hopefully I can move past them and not get seen. Again, this is like way faster than having to activate and then lure them. And this is actually like kind of difficult. If I like step too far, I can be seen. So I'm just gonna nudge my way. Slowly move.
This would be
There
a
we go.
great moment for the boy having a normal walking speed instead of just sneaking and zooming.
Yeah, like the boy's walking or running speed. It's very clumsy. Like you can tiptoe or you can go full force and that's like it. And it genuinely feels like you're controlling a 12-year-old boy. So we're kind of standing by Trico's feet to try and get him to kill the armor quicker. I can stomp on them just like that. There is a chance that during a fight, if there's like a cliff either side of you, and Trico like knocks you out of like your suit of armor, sometimes you will be flung with the suit of armor. So fights can be like very dangerous if you get caught. Gonna tell him to jump up. And he should jump up by himself. there are going to be some parts of the run where it's basically like an auto-scroller, in which Trico will be jumping to platforms all by himself, no input required. And we have a segment coming up in just a moment, where it's going to be like an auto-scroller for a solid minute. But for now, we're just going to be opening doors, you know, falling down ladders, you know, chilling, having a great time. Let me get rid of this glass eye. And I'm going to reset the checkpoint to kind of like bring Trico forward a bit. And Trico is forward. Yay! So I'm going to give him a single jump command here. And hopefully you'll understand what to do once I'm on him. There we go. If his head kind of swings like that, usually you know he's like caught onto something. There we go. I'm actually going to use this opportunity to pee real quick because it's an auto-scroller and hopefully I don't fall off. Made it back just in time. So that jump I made him do, that's not pre-scripted. That's not an auto-scroll jump. So you always have to command him right there. Which I feel like some people get confused about. He just kind of stands there or sits there and does nothing.
He will usually stop after like a series of like linear jumps where he only has one way to go, but he will usually stop if he has like a choice. Because there's like 2 windows there that he could jump in, and so he waits for you to tell him which one.
Yeah, essentially. And usually, like, in this part, like, you're supposed to climb up this chain, climb up there, and then flip that switch that's over there to, like, light a torch on this beacon. However, you can tell Trico to jump up, and he'll just jump up anyway. So that's kind of handy.
Nice how they allowed players who've already played before to do that, because most new players don't know that, so they don't do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to be doing some movement here. It's going to be hopefully dropping down and hitting this ledge and doing an animation like that. So I don't get a broken leg once I'm here. And I can activate this and hopefully move during the cutscene. Not quite perfect. If you can move to this pot during the cutscene and get in the perfect position like a bit early, you can actually grab it during the cutscene and start walking. Which saves, you know, a second or 2. So this is like the same stuff that was mentioned earlier, like the aroma pot. It's like jelly, like fluorescent jelly that Trico really likes. And we're going to be using this to activate like a puzzle mechanic to get him to open the door. And he really, really likes this stuff. So I'm going to throw it down. Then I'm going to jump down here. So that me and the pot are in optimal position. And we can just pick it up and put it on the chain. Sometimes, like, crashing down and, like, breaking your spine is a lot faster than climbing down on Trico and not breaking your spine. Yeah. Trico's gonna be like nomming on that for a while. So he's gonna open this door. We're gonna get through. There's another barrel right there. Well, we need to kind of, you know, jam the door open so that Trico can come through with us. So we're gonna be using this giant thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's a big thing.
It looks like an axle to me, like a train axle.
Yeah, maybe an axle. I'm not entirely sure. Someone should like check the art book, you know, just in case. Because like I'm sure at some point we'll end up like naming this as well in the community, because no one knows what to call it. Either way, Trico is actually like very interested by this mysterious object we have acquired, and he actually wants to, you know, look at it, and he wants to try and crash through the door. So I have to try and tell him, no, you're not gonna do that. He's gonna growl at me, so I'm gonna tell him, no, don't do that. You're gonna go over there and play with that toy instead. So grouchy. Sometimes you might need another prompt. There you go.
The name Trico comes to mind.
There you go. We fixed him. So if you like don't give him like the no command here, then he'll actually just like ram himself into the gate. So now we just have to wait for him to pull it all the way open. The name Treacle comes to mind. I actually have some like treacle in my shelf. But I don't know, I like bought the treacle thinking I'd like it more, but I don't know, it's just not as nice as I remember it being. So I'm gonna lure Trico over here. He's gonna start sniffing the axle, but if we call his name, he'll stop sniffing. That's basically sniff skip. Way back when I started running the game, you'd usually have to wait out that sniffing animation, and it could take up to 2 minutes on some days. Eat that. Hopefully get him to jump up. Okay, we're doing the leg up animation. I see you. I see you. You gonna jump up, buddy? I know you can. There you go. It's such a small jump. You drop down here. Sometimes if you drop down as well, like what just happened to me, you can end up bouncing around. Oh my god, can you pick a helmet and grab it? So if you hold circle, that's just basically like interact in the game. So circle is what you use to pick stuff up, to pet Trico, to use the mirror. Circle is basically mapped to like most things. So yeah, if you're trying to grab something, the boy will sometimes try to grab like everything or nothing in the area. It sucks. It genuinely sucks.
The game is not good at detecting context.
No. And some things seem to have like an aura or a radius of like grab. Like sometimes you can just hold circle and the boy will like run 10 meters to grab something. Other times you can be right next to something, press circle, and the boy will not grab it. So Trico's gonna be staring at these eyes for however long he wants to. And there's no like skip for this one. There we go. That should be good. Oh buddy, whoa, 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 whoa. So this section here is the section that you may have seen in the E3 2015 demo for the game before it got released. And that demo was actually the first time in quite some years that the game got shown at all. Because the game had quite a rough production, wouldn't you say, Theo?
Oh, definitely. It was in development from like 2007 to like 2016.
Yeah. So basically, the devs, they finished making Shadow of the Colossus, and then kind of straight away almost, they started loosely developing The Last Guardian. And some of the first like images and pieces of media we got were in 2008, 2009?
2009, yeah.
Yeah. So this game was initially supposed to be released on the PlayStation 3.
In
However,
like 2011.
Yeah, in like 2011. But it got delayed and delayed and delayed and pushed back until mysteriously it just dropped off the face of the earth for quite some years. A lot of people thought, oh, they're not going to finish the game's never going to come out. But in 2015, they released the trailer in this area. And then everyone was crying of excitement, I know I sure was, for the release of the game. So it ended up coming out in December of 2016.
And unfortunately for me, I discovered this game late, so I was never actually part of the hype for it getting released or anything, but I did learn about the history, and I super regret not being there.
Uh-huh. So, funny thing, so when this game came out, I didn't have a PlayStation 5, but I had enough money to buy the game, so I just bought the game, and like, I wasn't able to play it for so long until I got a PlayStation 4 of my own. I just had the game like ready. So when it came out, I unfortunately did watch someone play through it, because I had no idea when I was going to play through it myself. Come on, buddy. Lower that tail. So this is a classic Ueda moment. So the director of this game, Fumito Ueda, he likes scenes where there are collapsing bridges, collapsing architecture, things breaking, essentially.
Also things with horns.
Yes, things with horns.
You could make a whole freaking Ueda likes this thing bingo card and like use it on the next game.
So, oh my god, we should actually do that in the community one day. We should just make like a bingo card and then like throughout like a run, we should try and see who can get like the most points, like the quickest. So like what would be on the bingo card? You'd have like funny camera,
broken bridges,
broken castle,
controls.
Dying for no reason. Trio, come on.
Also,
have to wait for
character has
Trico.
horns.
Yeah, we need just Trico to like break this and jump up, so we're just gonna wait here on his head. Is this basically Colossus Nintendogs? Essentially, yeah. Nintendog of the Colossus, if you will.
Because you gotta take care of Trico.
Yeah. Usually, like, during that part, you're supposed to, like, drop down beside Trico, and then Trico looks at you, and you look at each other, and then the camera pans into the distance, and it's, like, magical. However, we just kind of run ahead without him. There we go. So bring him into this room. There's a barrel up here I should not forget about. So jump up. So I'm gonna climb on this chain. Get up here. And there's a barrel just over here I need to pull out. And I'm just hopefully gonna throw it down. If I can get it down on one throw, that'd be great. Not quite, not quite. Just gonna throw his barrel down here so that when Trico finishes his fight, don't fall off the edge, don't fall off the edge, that's fine. Yeah, it's one of the rooms where you have to be like careful not to have like a barrel fall off the edge, because then you have to like grab it again and waste time. Jump off here. So we're gonna remove this eye. And Trico should hopefully come down to our rescue. not just stand there and roar. There we go. Sometimes Trico can be stuck in the loop animation there as well, where he just keeps like roaring, growling, rather than getting into the fight. To which we'd have to reset the checkpoint and then like move the barrel all over again. He angry! Oh lord, he angry!
You done with your murdering, buddy?
You done with the murder? Time for your snack! What a good boy! What a good murder puppy! You wanna eat it? That's a yeah. So the camera like panning like that kind of indicated to me that Trico wanted to catch it in midair. So I was calling out here. I have to wait for him to kind of move his fat, feathery butt along. Come on, buddy. Come on, Trico. There's a gigantic eye right there as well, so Trico does not want to go anywhere near it. So I'm going to be given some narration. And then hopefully we can get Trico to kind of move along. There are 2 barrels up there that we need to get, and then there won't be a barrel until after like an action sequence. You're still frightened? But it's so far away. We're going to be doing like a neat skip as well on this eye. So we're going to be pointing over there. Be like, Trico, jump over there. And hopefully he doesn't step forward. Yeah, so if he steps forward, his AI will kind of like lock onto the eye again and start doing this growling animation. But the command will still like go through, which is kind of weird. So this is one of the spots where you can accidentally like overwhelm Trico with stuff. So hopefully give him a second to adjust himself. Yeah, I know, I told you to jump. And you're not. So him kind of looking back at me and like roaring, it kind of told me that he's like, hey, can you say that again? Can you repeat yourself? It's a very, very wonderful thing about the AI.
There's also moments where like Trico will get the command and he'll understand what he has to do, but he will still look back at you for like a half second and then go back to doing what you asked him to do. And I've noticed a lot of players will like misunderstand that as him not knowing what he's supposed to do, and they will immediately give him another command, and that usually messes him up.
Yeah. So usually Trico will sometimes look back at you for like a half second to let you know that he's understood what you need him to say. Other times he'll look back at you and stare at you. Oh dear. And that's when he's kind of like, hey, I need you to kind of repeat yourself, say it again. Also, hello Tic Tac and Ruby. Thank you, thank you.
Hey Tic Tac, hey Ruby.
So Tic Tac and Ruby are parts of our team. You can speedruns our community. And they run Shadow Eco and The Last Guardian. And that is fantastic. It's always nice to see them here. This is very dangerous platforming, but if you know where you're going, there's nothing to worry about. And drop my butt down here. Just wait a few seconds so that the dangly thing is just right. And jump, hopefully no boy, why would you do that? Why didn't you magna hand? Oh no.
I'm gonna guess you
it's alright.
did.
We have a good checkpoint, everything's fine.
Oh, you did.
That was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm behind like 10 seconds because I'm having to watch the stream.
Yeah. There we go, test the magna hands. This is quite a slow climbing section. The game will have its moments of like intense action, and then it will have the kind of quiet, chilled out, you know, fear of heights moments, if you will. And hopefully I'll be able to do a skip right here.
Anyone who hates heights is not recommended to play this game.
Oh no. Yeah, it's not helpful that I'm looking down currently, but hey ho, hey ho. So usually I have to climb all the way through this eye and do a lot of like slow jumping. But hopefully if I kind of put myself in this corner, I'll launch up. It's very difficult, so I'm just trying to wedge myself in the perfect way so that I'm can't quite get the jump. Basically, you're not supposed to like really get to that corner, so the game will try and like knock you out of it, which is what it's trying to do to me at the moment. There we go. So that was what I like wanted to do first try, but it's like kind of like hard to get it because you have the wind kind of blowing you away and everything, and the eye is constantly like dangling and moving. Well, words are hard. Gonna keep making my way up here. There's a handy little switch up there, and then we're gonna progress and go to like another skip very soon. You see like a lot of architecture around here as well. That's all like, it's got no collision or anything. If you like somehow get down there alive, you'll just fall like straight through it. Which is like a shame because everything looks like so interesting. It looks like you have, you know, like a village down there or something.
Also,
Oh, goodness.
physics just went bye-bye with this one. That should have flung you.
Yeah. Physics goes bye-bye a lot in this run. So I'm going to get Trigo to jump forward. There we go, he's understood. And again, buddy. One more time. Sometimes he'll jump by himself, other times he'll need like a helping hand. And there is another broken eye here, which I need to get rid of. This eye is a horrible eye, so it has like wires and stuff. So sometimes you won't be able to push it off because it gets caught, and other times you'll be pushed off with it. There we go. And Trico, because he's a big fella, he's gonna break the bridge. Another classic Ueda moment. And jump onto him. Hopefully not. Or fall off. Crumbling bridge cinematic. There we go.
Now it's
So I can-
towers.
Yeah. Onwards. So I'm going to be doing a dialogue skip up here as well. Saves a good 10-ish seconds. It's the only dialogue skip in the game that we have as well. This game doesn't like it when you break its script, and sometimes if you break the script, it just simply will not work. But for some reason, we're going to be skipping like a semi-cutscene, small bit of dialogue right here. So for safety reasons, I'm just going to make my way down this ledge and crawl, or to kind of dangle around the trigger until I turn this corner, then the trigger's ended. Because the game, like, it wants you to, like, stop running, and it's going to pan the camera back to Trico, and then the boy's going to talk to Trico. That just takes, like, far too long. Now is the fun part of the run, which personally I really like, dislike quite a bit. I have to try and not get caught here by these suits of armor up these staircase. And then we have a skip called Drawbridge Skip coming up, which is a very, very difficult skip to line up. If you want to go ahead and explain like what I'm doing here, Theo, and Drawbridge
Sure.
Skip, feel free.
So, Usu has to open some doors in order to get up to the right level for being over the drawbridge, and she will go across to it when she gets to it. As for the drawbridge skip, there is a drawbridge across the way from where Trico is, but he's not willing or able to jump to it. And so he's not going to jump to it until he has the right motivation. And the intended way of doing it is jumping across the wooden beams that she's going to walk across in a moment. And she will jump to the... Well, she will angle herself so that she skips where she's actually supposed to hang and jump right onto the drawbridge. And getting that angle just right and the jump just right is very, very hard to do. And I myself have gotten it a couple times, but there was one time where it took me like 10 minutes of resetting the checkpoint and retrying until I got it, and that was very annoying. So
That
she's
movement there
walking...
like failed me as well. You'll see it in just a second.
Oh yeah, then there's also a skip for like a falling beam where you kind of just jump onto it before it falls and then jump again to get across it, but you missed that one.
Yeah, I jumped like too late on that first jump. So usually the game wants you to like go like the slow way around this, but I want to go the fast way. Again, really. Yes, I can run this game. Haven't even gotten to the drawbridge yet. We'll still go for drawbridge skip anyway. It's definitely worth the time save. If I don't land it, if I miss it, or if sometimes like you'll go to jump, but then you end up catching like the beam instead.
There's also like a bit of a sunk cost fallacy that goes on with a lot of skips in the game where like, how do you decide how much time you waste trying to get this skip to keep going and go the normal way?
So I'm gonna start dangling on the edge of this beam. And I'm gonna try and get a decent lineup. It's a very specific lineup, so I might not be able to get it here. Okay, got it. Pog. Let's go. I'm gonna use this wall to cushion my fall. So Trico's gonna jump over here anyway, and instead of like having to dangle off... Yeah. Instead of having to like dangle off the broken bridge up there, and then call Trico over and start like cinematic, and then fall down onto him, climb up, etc. I could just do that. And luckily, like, it's not like a fixed trigger. Yes, it's not like the flashiest game with its skips, but that skip is like way harder than it needs to be. Because it's very hard to kind of like line yourself up, considering like the amount of like patterns in the architecture and the camera as well. And we are going to go into the secret tunnel. This is one of those required barrels that Fia mentioned earlier. At certain points in the game, Trico will kind of sit down and refuse to do like anything until he eats a barrel. And this is one of those segments, and I'm going to be doing some movement skips to avoid having to platform my way around this area. Because the puzzle, when it comes to these barrels, is you're supposed to throw the barrel to one end of the kind of hole and then keep doing it until you get gradually higher and higher. But if you kind of, you know, step on certain bits of rubble, then you can just, like, convince the game that you're supposed to tiptoe up it. Yeah, so here's the game basically narrating that you have to, like, feed him a barrel to progress.
Way ahead of you, game.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the narrator will point out some really obvious things. It's like, yes, game, I've played it before.
Really useless hints.
There we go. He's in the barrel. It's not easy than that. We can just go ahead and mosey our way along. Come on. I would like to jump. Game. Thank you. The game is such a pain sometimes when it comes to allowing you to jump up onto something, especially that for no reason. A cart's like my worst enemy. Just gonna lure him into here. And fun fact, Trico has flashlight eyes. His eyes illuminate in the dark, and this is going to be the only point in the game where we get to see it. It's such a cool little feature, but we only see it once. Makes me think that, like, originally, in, like, the beta version, that there were more, like, dark tunnels like this. And there are actually gaps in the floor, and this is very dark. Like, what you see is what I see. And I have to kind of navigate around the gaps to not fall down them.
Like, if you've played the game enough, you'll know where the platforms are.
Yeah. And how frustrating it is to fall down and have to, like, climb back up.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Oh, not quite. Okay. So sometimes if you tell Trico to jump to something, he'll just jump where he's standing rather than jump where you want him to go. Up there. There we go, buddy. So he's just going to position himself into a jump, so I don't need to give him any other commands, because it might interrupt his animation. There we go. Now he's up here, I can reset the checkpoint. There's not going to be a barrel in this next segment, or section. So it's going to be pretty much done like an any percent run. So I'm going to tell Trico to go forward, so he's going to push that bridge down.
The next barrel is going to be a required one, actually.
Yeah, another required one. So Trico tends to want the required barrels after a stressful situation.
I'd be hungry after a stressful situation.
Do you ever just,
Also,
you know, get stressed and you have to eat?
He's a big guy. He probably has a big metabolism.
He's a big boy.
And those are tiny barrels.
So this is a cutscene where Susan is calling to us. And it's basically at the point in the game where the game is like, okay, if you didn't notice already, there is another Trico, and we are literally telling you there is another one.
And the boy forgets.
Uh-huh. And then the boy's like, surprise Pikachu face later in the game.
Boy, your memory needs help. You literally saw Susan at the beginning of the game.
Uh-huh. This section's going to be a lot of platforming. It's going to be a few tricks that hopefully we can be doing. So usually here I'm supposed to like dangle down Trico's tail, go through this pillar, and then jump on that rope. But I can actually just jump straight down from Trico's face onto the rope, hopefully not phase through it. There we go, grab it. That skips having to like make my way down.
I've seen some first-time players jump straight from Trico's nose and do the same thing, and then I'm like, GG, you did a speedrun strat.
Yeah. It's super fun. I remember when Foxy Jira did basically a trigger factor. So if you run Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian back to back, that's what we call a trigger factor. I'm actually doing one for this marathon next Monday. And it's gonna be, it could be up to 9 hours of pure gaming, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, Foxy Jira did one of those speed runs, and I was there coaching him for his entire like TLG section. And when he got to this bit, he was like, "Usu, what do I do?" And I was like, "Just jump, bro. Just jump. Trust me on this." And kid you not, he just jumped and caught the rope, and I was like, "Oh, Poggies!"
He just yeeted himself.
Yeah, I was so happy he yeeted himself in the right direction, because he would have missed otherwise. Okay, that jump is very easy to miss. Not, like... It's not as hard as, like, Drawbridge's jump. It's not as specific, but it's still... You know, if you're too far to the left or the right, or if you're falling too fast, you can actually, like, phase through it. And then the game kind of resets you.
I'm amazed the boy can, like, hold that rope with, like, one hand.
Yeah. So again, I'm doing the fast climbs on the rope. I'm actually going to be doing a rope run, hopefully, which is going to be mildly stressful. If you are able to walk onto a rope normally, you can run across it if you keep stumbling over yourself. But if you go even like as far as an inch or two too far to the left or the right, you'll actually fall down and have to like slowly walk around. So I can line myself up. The camera is also like swaying, which makes everything so much harder than it needs to be. There we go, didn't quite get it. So you're supposed to like run all the way across this rope, but even if I'm like halfway, it's still fine. It's still saving time.
Camera didn't want to follow you for a bit there.
Yeah. It's a very hard trick to get because the camera is constantly like changing your direction. So the direction you kind of move in, jump in, run in, it depends on the movement of the camera as well. So if the camera is like going back and forth, the directions are going to change on the controller pad. Catch me or not.
And then physics, I guess, applied to this one because it like flipped over or like it went off balance.
Yeah. I've broken my leg. Need to wait for it to heal, and Trico will hopefully jump where I need him to.
You don't need your legs to climb on Trico. You need your hands, so you should.
You just need your hands.
Get on him, even if your leg's broken.
Just like drag yourself over to Trico and climb up his feathers. So here is like essentially going to be another auto-scrolling section, Trico climbing up this tower. There is one more eye that we have to get rid of, and then we'll just have like another 2 minutes of just straight up chilling. So I have to jump off, hopefully. Don't get crushed by Trico's foot. Come on, bud. So sometimes if you're between Trico and a wall or Trico and the floor, Trico's like, he's so big and powerful and heavy that he can actually like make you fall through stuff and make you go out of bounds. But a lot of the time when you go out of bounds, you'll just go to the death plane and never come back. So it's very important that sometimes that we actually try not to get ourselves into that situation. So like when he starts climbing this tower, for example, I have to make sure that I'm not between him and the tower wall, because there's the chance that I can get flung off or get consumed by the tower. It's not fun. This is another lovely dramatic moment of the game. So Trico's gonna have to come down and save us because we're not gonna be able to do it on our own.
He's
So I'm gonna
yelling
wait
at
for
you
him.
and he jumps down, and then he's like, "I'll catch you."
So when his mouth opens, I know that it is safe to kind of let go, but I need to hold forward the entire time to really
That's
make sure
all.
he doesn't miss catching me. Because pretty much like every like moment in the game like this, where Trico has to like save you from midair, every single one of them he can miss you. Every single one. It's not like a pre-scripted event. It is just he can just miss you for no reason. Like if you're out of place, you know, he won't be able to catch you, and then you have to
Or if
redo
you're
the
too
entire
early.
like yeah. And then you have to redo the entire thing. And time to jump here. So here is actually like a great opportunity to remove the spears if he has any left in him.
Yeah,
I don't think
blood.
he does. So sometimes when you're in the game and you reload a checkpoint, there is a very slight chance that all the spears will be removed from his body. And this just so happens to be like one of those checkpoints where all the spears can disappear from him. So you remember he had like 3 spears in him earlier, he now has like 0, which is really good. So I don't have to worry about pulling those out at any point. And if I pet him on his bloodstained feathers, I will actually wipe the blood away. It's alright, buddy.
Oh, perfect time for 8 ads to start.
Oh yeah. Ad 1 of 8. Sorry, folks. For those who have a subscription, however, you will face no ads. There's really nothing to do here. That's why I'm just kind of wiping away the blood. Usually I'd remove the spears, but because I'm not removing the spears, I can just waste time a different way.